If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new album in the description. Alright, Young Thug just dropped his new album, Punk, that I made some videos about leading up to its release. Y'all know that I was excited for this because Young Thug is one of the most interesting characters in hip-hop. He's influenced the whole generation with his style. When he came onto the scene, you know, 6, 7, or 5, 6 years ago, it was something completely new that nobody had ever heard before. So he is of course forever going to be, you know, one of the most influential people coming out of Atlanta, influencing this new trap sound. So any, new music that he drops is always very interesting to listen to. Y'all know that I wasn't too much of a fan of Slime Language 2, his collaborative project with his YSL crew that he dropped earlier on this year, although I loved his performances on there, but just as a whole wasn't really, too much of a fan of it. But then now leading up to this new release, Punk, that he's been teasing for years now, was initially supposed to drop in 2019. But we finally got it. Y'all know that I was excited. I liked So Much Fun a lot more than a lot of his other projects. So that was another reason why I was excited for this. And it really didn't disappoint. I had some high expectations for this. I wanted him to maybe switch it up a little more because over the past 2 to 3 years, his style has been quite stagnant. He hasn't been innovating as much, hasn't been, experimenting around with his vocals, with his instrumentals, that much like he did before that, maybe on Jeffrey, for example, which was maybe, the peak or the height of his development until then. And after that, after he found that mainstream success, it kind of stagnated a little bit. But with this new thing, Punk, I can tell y'all, maybe we get a new direction now in his career, because on here, you can definitely hear that it has a whole nother sound than, for example, So Much Fun. So Much Fun was still influenced by those, very trap, very hard-hitting beats, a lot of 808s and him just rapping and, doing these little triplet flows and stuff like that. Something that, Atlanta is known for, he is known for, but on here, damn, he's really taking a more artistic approach to this, singing a lot more. Also, he worked in the features on here perfectly. We have A$AP Rocky singing, half of his verse on here, and it sounds dope. I know a lot of people are going to say, nah, it doesn't sound good, but to me it sounded, great, and I like that, Thugger is working together with artists that are also, in the wave of finding their own new sound and wanting to express themselves artistically and creatively a little bit different. A$AP Rocky is a perfect example for this, working on his new album, All Smiles. So just to see that he's surrounding himself with people that are on the same path, on the same, way as him, that is a good sign for the whole album. Now, starting off, for example, Die Slow is a great example and sets the tone for this record. A slower song, a more introspective song. We hear a lot more, personal content matter on here. Thugger is talking about the lifestyle he's leading, and Thugger is someone who's been in the game for quite some time now and has quite, the success, and he's been living this fast lifestyle for years now, something that is portrayed in his music videos, and so on. And on here, it kind of feels like, he's been dropping all these projects back to back over the past 6 to 7 years. It just felt like he was going and going and going and getting more successful. And then after So Much Fun, it kind of slowed down, or maybe even after Jeffrey. And this maybe is him also musically now slowing down, literally, because he's taking a more introspective approach to his life, to his lifestyle, and questioning some stuff of it. He's talking a lot more about, themes like love on here. For example, Love You More with Gunna and Nate Russ, for example, is a great track on here that I think perfectly, embodies that feeling as well. That doesn't mean we don't have those typical, 808 hitting hard trap beats. For example, Scoliosis with Lil Double O. It's a great track. That thing goes hard. And I think the fact that the rest of the album is so slow paced, this one stands out a lot more. If this was on So Much Fun, I would have just skipped over it because it just, sounds replaceable. But that one hard. We had that Drake and Travis Scott track, Bubbly, which was also very, hard hitting. Drake, I don't know what to think about Drake's part yet. In some ways, I'm like, yeah, this is dope because it's something new. But also, on the other hand, it does sound kind of weird the way he comes in. I don't know what to think about that yet, but Travis killed it. We have Gunna on here 3 times, of course. That was to be expected. J. Cole is on here, completely killing his feature. That was dope. That was amazing. Y'all gotta go listen to J. Cole's track on here. We have a pretty basic Future and B-Slam track that was to be expected, but I really love the solo tracks on here. Stupid Asking, for example, a great track. Also for, you know, stuff, those deep cuts like Road Rage. You would think that this is like a more high-paced song, but it's actually him rather in this new way he's using his voice now to, you know, flow over those slower beats, those more mellow beats, those beats that are not supposed to drop hard any second, but are rather just there to be the background or the foundation for then an artist to hop on there and do some storytelling. And he does this pretty well on most of these tracks, and that's why I like it so much. The Droppin' Jewels, another great example of this. Contagious as well, him complaining about, you know, him being so generous, him showing all this love and not getting that back. And I think that is something that I really, you know, I really like that he's talking about something like that on here. So all in all, this Thugger project, I think, perfectly displays a new direction he wants to take with his career. Maybe this is a turning point of him now, you know, taking a new approach to music and viewing it in a different light other than just, you know, pumping out track after track, hoping that one of them blows up, which was pretty much a lot of his career so far up to date. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, to discredit his artistry, not at all, but, you know, most of his albums were just long playlists, maybe except for Jeffrey, as I said, that just use that new, you know, Migos type of style of making 5 songs a night and then putting the best ones on the albums. And that's not bad at all, but I like it when artists maybe take a new approach to their music, view it in a more retrospective light, and that's what Thugger does on this album, and that's why I love it so much. Honestly, this is probably my favorite Thugger album. Of course, Beautiful Thugger Girls was also maybe up there as well, but Punk, so far, the way that it's sounding after the first couple of listens, I could really have this on repeat for the next couple of days because it's such a great mix and such a great balance of still those hard-hitting Thugger tracks you can expect, but then also the slow ones where he's singing and he's just, you know, doing his own thing that he maybe wants to set out and do with this record, which I love. So this thing is amazing. I love this. I love every track on here from top to bottom, you know, from Die Slow up to that track with Mac Miller. He had a freaking Mac Miller feature on here. He also had a Juice WRLD feature on here, but we knew that the two of them still had something in the vaults. But a Mac Miller feature? Shout out to Thugger Man for putting Mac Miller on here, for real. Also, Mac Miller's mixtape Faces from 2014 just got released on streaming as well, so if you haven't yet, go check that out. But that's my opinion on Thugger's new album, Punk. Now I want to know what you think about this. Were you excited for this? What did you like the most about this record? What's your favorite track, your least favorite track? What'd you think of him, you know, switching up his style a little bit? All of that, let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media and blog down in the description. It really helps me out. Until the next one, y'all have an incredible day, and y'all take care.